Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Bienvenue, bienvenue, bienvenue. Bonjour, comment ça va? Excuse my French, matter of fact. Excuse my English, better yet. Excuse my pidgin. Put live from the HQs of Legit Matters with your one and only, your favorite host, Big Fish. Yeah, give them the going take it or lick it. Hey, babe. Yeah, FCRMC. Yo, boy. Straight to the matter on Legit Matters. Talking about Fela and the Kuti, the legendary one, the great one. But before I go any further, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and drop your comments. Oh man, goddamn! Straight to the matter on Fela Kuti on the country Nigeria, man. I'm really disappointed on what the country Nigeria has turned out to be. After all the work Fela did put in his music, after all the pain and sorrow he went through, releasing music, speaking truth in his music, making wonderful classical music, going to the UK to perform, going to the US to perform, making Afrobeat something the world will come to listen to. After all his truth, after all his advocacy for the country Nigeria, at the end of the day, Nigeria has gotten worse, worse and worse. The politicians are out there looting money so heavily. The police are out there brutalizing the youths. The soldiers are out there killing innocent people. The politicians are out there just misusing phones, looting phones, borrowing money from IMF, borrowing money from external bodies like China, putting the country in so much debt. Fela Kuti was a great one. He had his own republic called Kalakuta Republic. At a point in time in his career, he married 27 wives. He was a Pan-Africanist. He would believe in Pan-Africanism. He was an African. He was a great one. He's a legendary one. He went to the UK to study medicine, but decided to derail, go off-road, and decided to read music, his natural calling, his natural love for music. He decided to follow his heart and went to read music in UK, United Kingdom. And when he came back, he started making music, jazz music, classical music, Afrobeat. He created a genre they call Afrobeat, which has metamorphosized right now to Afrobeats. Matter of fact, man, what Fela did for the country of Nigeria is beyond words, because Fela was pushing equality, human rights, and justice, was against mismanagement of funds, was against mistreating of humans, was against this our leaders there who comes around every now and then to loot the country's money, resources, and fly abroad, take their children out there, take their children and their wives to all these good schools in the United States, in the UK, and all these foreign countries out there, and leave the young ones out there to rot in this death hole they call Nigeria. Matter of fact, Fela went through so much pain, so much sorrow, so much beatings. They had to beat Fela a couple of times. Fela has been arrested over 250 times in his career as a musician. When he was releasing songs against Babangida, against Obasanjo, against Yaradua, against all those military leaders out there who were mishandling the funds of Nigeria, stealing Nigerians' money, Fela went through so much pain. He was fighting for democracy. When democracy came into play, he also was fighting against the politicians, against these brutal police people who are now called SARS, who are now called whatever they are. They have different names. They have different names. They give themselves every now and then, SWAT or whatever they call them. And Fela was fighting against these people, was singing songs against the way Nigerians were being malnourished, the way Nigerians were being treated like animals. Police were beating people here and there. Soldiers were beating people here and there. There was lack of money. There was lack of funds for the country. The politicians were looting cash in their millions. And all what Fela went through, all the pain and sorrow Fela had to go through in this life, came to waste, just a mere waste of time, because Fela really went through so much pain. They had to come to his house. Obasanjo himself came to Fela's house with hundreds of soldiers, close to 1,000 soldiers. They came to this compound called Kota Republic. They entered this house. They did beat everybody in the house, all the ladies, and they threw his lovely mother out of the window. His beloved mother out of the window, and she fell to the ground. She incurred injuries from all that and later died about a year later from all those beating and torture she went through with it in the hands of the soldiers. Fela was taken to the barracks like a baby, naked, was being beaten, brutalized like a thief, was being manhandled, less he was treated less than a human being, he was treated like a dog. All this pain and sorrow he went through in his life. Instead of for him to give up, he kept on releasing music, he kept on dropping hits upon hits, all in the hope that Nigeria will be better, all in the hope that the youth will vote wisely, all in the hope that the country will become great. But instead, the country has become so worse, so bad, with bandits here and there, with terrorists here and there, with Niger Delta militants here and there, with people fighting for Biafra one more time, with Eastern Security Network, unknown government, kidnapping here and there. So much brutality from the police, so much brutality from the soldiers, so much mismanagement of funds, looting of funds here and there. Politicians are just making the country a shithole. All this Fela went through in his life to no avail. Fela was a great one. Fela believed in himself. Fela did so much for the music culture of Nigeria. Made sure Afrobeats was heard worldwide. Made sure Afrobeats was something to be recognized, something to be listened to, something to be acknowledged. Now you can see the likes of Wizkid, Burna Boy, Davido, Kiss Daniel. They are now making Afrobeats. They have taken Afrobeats global. Fela started with a mixture of high life and classical music. High life originated from Ghana, and Fela's mother was an advocate and was a close friend of Kwame Nkrumah. They were leading the revolution of Africanism at that point in time. They were fighting for the great Africa nation, the great Africa. People like Gaddafi, people like Kwame Nkrumah, people like Mandela, people like Fela Kuti, Fela's mother. They fought for Africa. They fought for Africa. They fought for Nigeria to be great. But all these things people did, I'm not seeing any progress. As if the country is taking 100 steps backward. The politicians are just mishandling the country. They just go out there and take loans upon loans upon loans. And funny enough, this is slavery coming back again. This is slavery because the way this IMF and these white people do, or these people, the external bodies who have money, who lend that money to these African nations, they purposely give African countries and all these third world countries money to keep them in debt, because the Bible says the borrower is servant to the lender. So you are a slave to the person who lends you money. So they know you cannot pay the money back. They know the Africans, they cannot pay back the debt they owe because the debt is too big. So instead, they request for natural resources. They request for valuable things in the country, and this is how they just automatically buy out our country, and they give us instructions, hard instructions. Don't employ such and such people in your country. Don't employ people in your country. Don't do this and that. Make sure you can legalize gayism. Make sure you adhere to our rules because we are the one giving you money. We are the one sponsoring you. So that's how they keep the Africans in bondage. But these our leaders, they don't really want to go the hard way, do the right thing to manufacture in our country, to export African products in massive numbers, to export the natural resources we have. Instead, they take our natural resources and they give it away for money. They keep on receiving money from this international monetary fund, from IMF, from China, from all these people who loan out money to Africans, selling out our country, making us going back to slave one more time. That hurts me so much. All the good fella did for the country, all what he passed through, just to make sure people wake up and know that they are being maltreated and being enslaved by the government, but they still go ahead and vote for these corrupt leaders. Man, this is something that hurts me for poor life from here because of Big Fish Studios. Oh yeah, give them the young one. This breaks my heart so bad, man. I can keep talking about what the wonders of Fela, Nkrumah, Kuti over and over. But if no words, no for wise, man. You young ones out there, you need to listen to Fela's music and you need to adhere to his instructions and make sure you don't vote for the wrong ones who make the country go 100 steps backwards and take us back to slavery. Report live from the HQs of Legit Matters with your favorite host, Big Fish. But yeah, give them the young one, take it or lick it. Bye, FCRC. Yo, signing out, leaving you with peace and love.